Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. K. Venkat Reddy from JNTU Kakinada. In this series of videos, I'll teach you the microprocessors and microcontrollers. In this video, I'll explain you what a microprocessor is and how it works. As the microprocessor is a part of computers, let us discuss some basic details about the computers. Whenever I say the computers, I mean the recent digital computers. Now, let us try to understand different types of computers. Computer is basically a programmable electronic device that is designed to accept data or information and perform various operations at higher speeds and stores the information in the memory or sends the information to output devices. The computer must have the arithmetic and logical unit to perform various operations inside the CPU and must also provide with a memory to store the results. Depending upon the size of these arithmetic and logical units and the memory, the digital computers are classified into four main types. The first one is microcomputers, second one is mini computers, the third one is mainframe computers. The last and most powerful one is supercomputers. Microcomputers are basically a small sized personal usage computers. They are low cost devices. The main features of these microcomputers are small size and weight, low cost, a single user, personal computers. The first microcomputer was the Microl, released in the year 1973. The Intel Corporation's 8008 microprocessor was used to construct these Microl computer. These personal computers found applications all over the world. Some of the applications are internet applications, educational institutions, entertainment, banking and business applications, data and word processing, the electronic spreadsheets, etc. Some of the examples of these microcomputers are the desktop computers, the laptop computers, the tablet PCs and palm-top computers, the smartphones, infotainment systems. They are also called carputers, are also the examples of microcomputers. The programmable calculators and video game consoles are also examples for microcomputers. The next type of computers are the mini computers. The mini computers are multi-user computers basically. The main features are these mini computers are larger than microcomputers. They have higher processing capabilities. They are basically multi-user computers and they are also called servers. These mini computers are developed by IBM in 1960s. The applications of these mini computers are in the educational institutions for simulations, to conduct bigger simulations, to use as laboratory servers, etc. In research laboratories to conduct the bigger simulations, in small companies for their data storage, graphics and animation applications. Graphics designing requires bigger computers with a huge storage, the computer aided design, etc. Examples of these mini computers are DEC PDP-11, HP 3000 series, Texas Instruments 990, Honeywell DPS-6, IBM mid-range computers. These are very popular computers. Data General Nova and Data General Nova 2, etc. Control Data CDC 160A, etc. The next type of computers are mainframe computers. The mainframe computers are used to store huge amount of data. They can process or they can handle thousands of users at any point of time. The main features of the mainframe computers are they are very large computers with high processing capabilities. Several hundreds of users can access at any point of time. They are provided with huge number of input-output devices. They have huge amount of data storage, that is memory. Their main feature is it has high security, higher amount of reliability, it has high scalability. Because of these qualities, these mainframes are used for various applications such as bulk data processing, enterprise resource planning, life and health insurance organizations such as Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC, etc. Banking and transaction processing, banking servers, and the computers to perform banking transactions, in telecommunications, etc. Examples of mainframe computers are IBM Z series of computers, Fujitsu's BS2000 series computers, ICL 2900 series computers, etc. These mainframe computers occupies several racks of space. Now the next type of computers are the supercomputers. The extremely powerful computers with a high amount of parallel processing capabilities that are used in scientific and engineering applications are called supercomputers. Across the world, we have few hundreds of supercomputers. The speed of these supercomputers are measured in terms of floating point operations per second. The world's fastest supercomputer is IBM Summit with the speed as 1,48,600 tera floating point operations per second. The United States of America and China are leading in the development of supercomputers. India also has few supercomputers. One is Pratyush, another one is Mihir. These Pratyush and Mihir are popular supercomputers developed by India. The government of India has spent around 440 crores for the development of these supercomputers. They operate at 6.8 peta floating point operations per second. In India, these supercomputers are mainly used for weather forecasting, that is to predict the rainfalls, to predict the cyclones or lightnings, etc. The main applications of these supercomputers are for weather forecasting, radiation shielding modeling, nuclear test simulations, molecular dynamic simulations, etc. Till now we have discussed different types of computers. Out of these types, a small sized personal computers are called microcomputers. Now let us see the basic block diagram of a microcomputer, and then we will understand what a microprocessor is and how it works. Microcomputer basically consists of three main parts. One is the central processing unit, CPU. The second one is memory. The third one is various input-output devices such as keyboard, mouse, joystick, display, speakers, etc. As most of these input-output devices are either electromagnetic devices or electromechanical devices, they operate at very low speeds. Whereas the central processing unit is an electronic device which operates at very higher speeds. If you connect these input-output devices directly to the central processing unit, there exists a mismatch in the speeds of operation. So the information cannot be transmitted properly. And hence, these input-output ports acts as interface between the slow input-output devices and the fast central processing unit. If the CPU wants to transfer the information to the speakers, CPU transfers the information to the output port at higher speeds, and this output port supplies the information to the speakers at a slow speeds. On the other hand, if the microprocessor wants to read the information from a keyboard or a scanner, This input device supplies the information slowly to the input port, and the input port supplies the information to the central processing unit at a higher speeds. And these three main parts are connected to each other by computer buses. A bus is a set of wires that transforms information from one part to the other part inside the computers. There are three types of buses. One is data bus, which transfers data among these three parts. The other one is address bus, which transfers address information from CPU to memory or CPU to input-output ports. The other type of bus is a control bus, which transfers control signals from CPU to memory or CPU to input-output ports. The central processing unit of a microcomputer is called the microprocessor. The microprocessor is the CPU of a microcomputer. The microprocessor mainly consists of arithmetic and logical unit, a control unit, and registers inside the single chip. The 4004 is the world's first microprocessor developed by Intel Corporation in 1971. In this diagram, it shows the Intel 8086 microprocessor developed in 1978 by Intel Corporation. To understand the memory, basically the memory is a collection of locations. In memory, each location is of 8 bits size. Inside the memory, that information will be stored in the form of binary digits, bits. So each location size is 8 bits. Each 8-bit size locations inside the memory is provided with a unique number called its address. In this case, we have 7 locations. The size of each location is 8 bits, that is 1 byte. So totally we have 7 bytes of space. The microprocessor basically transfers the data from input devices through the data bus to the microprocessor, or from microprocessor through the data bus to the memory, or from memory through the data bus to the microprocessor, or it transfers the data from microprocessor through the data bus to output ports, then to output devices. And hence, the data bus is a bidirectional bus. To understand the working of address bus and control bus and the working of the microprocessor, let us consider different operations that are performed by these microprocessors. At first, let us consider a memory write operation. Let us see how this microprocessor writes some information into the memory. If you want to write some information into the memory location number 4, the processor must point the location number 4. To do this, microprocessor places address 4 on the address bus. Then, if the processor wants to send the information 25 to this location number 4, it places the number 25 on the data bus. Then, the processor issues a memory write control signal to the memory. In response to this memory write control signal, the information 25 will be written in location number 4 of the memory. Then next, let us see how the processor performs memory read operations, taking some information from memory to the processor. In this case, let us consider a case that in location number 4 we have an information 25. The processor wants to read this information. To do this, the processor must point the location number 4 and it places address number 4 on the address bus. Then it issues a memory read control signal through the control bus. In response to this control signal, the information 25 will come through the data bus to the microprocessor. This is how it performs read and write operations with the memory. Let us see how the microprocessor performs read and write operations with input-output devices. Similar to memory locations, each input output device must be provided with a unique number called its port address. In this case, the port address of the input device keyboard is 1 and the output device is 2. Let us see how the processor performs read operation from the input device keyboard. To perform the read operation, the processor must point the port number 1. To do so, the microprocessor initially places the port address 1 on the address bus. It connects the input device. Next, it sends an input output read control signal through the control bus. In response to this control signal, the input information A will come from input device to the input output ports and then through the data bus to the microprocessor. This is how the processor performs input operation from I/O devices. Next, we will see how the microprocessor sends the information to the output devices. In this case, the output device is monitor. It is connected to the port address 2. To perform the write operation to the output device, the processor must connect to this particular port address. Hence, initially, the processor sends the port address 2 on the address bus. Next, it wants to send the information A to the monitor and hence it places the information A on the data bus. Now, the monitor is pointed, the transfer information is A that is available with the data bus. Now, the processor issues write control signal through the control bus. In response to this, the information A will be written in the monitor. This is how the microprocessor performs write operation on the output devices. So, from the previous operations, we have observed that always the microprocessor sends address information either to the memory or to the input output ports. The processor will never receive the address information, and hence the address bus is a unidirectional bus always from CPU to memory or CPU to input output ports. The control bus transfers the control signal to the memory or to the input output ports. Sometimes the processor also receives the control signals from memory or from input output ports as acknowledgement signals, and hence the control bus is a bidirectional bus. In addition to the input output operations, the microprocessor also performs various arithmetic operations and logical operations inside the arithmetic and logical unit of the CPU. Mainly the operation of the microprocessor is the microprocessor accepts the data from input devices or the memory and performs various arithmetic and logical operations inside the arithmetic and logical unit and stores results in the memory and sends the results back to the output devices. This is the basic operation of the microprocessor. In the next video, we will discuss different types of memories such as read-only memories, random access memories, secondary memories, cache memories, etc. And we will also discuss different technologies used in the realization of computer memories. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thank you.